Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Lil Nebstar, I am playing a 5-color Yorion control. This list is comparable to a lot of the 5-color Yorion decks. Like, we've got Beanstalks, we've got Leyline Binding. All those things are pretty normal. There's some Uros. There's two things about this list in particular that I want to call out. One of them is that it is properly a 5-color deck. A lot of the times it's like Bant with 1/4 Aerolingus and some red sideboard cards and then a black pip so you can Leyline Binding. This deck actually has 4 Orcish Bowmaster and a Leovold in it, so it's actually a black deck trying to cast black spells. And there's 2 copies of 4th Aerolingus, which are part of the win condition package, and we do need to cast those cards eventually in a lot of games. This deck is actually trying to cast colors of 5 different spells, or 5 different spells of colors. Colors of 5? What? Spells of 5 different colors. It's going to be one of those days, folks. My brain is already addled. The other thing I want to call out about this deck is there's no Triumph of St. Catherine. And if you listen to the Eternal Glory podcast, which I recommend, by the way, I am one of the co-hosts. In our last episode, I delivered the scorching hot take that Triumph of St. Catherine might just suck. I was excited about it as anyone, but the more I play with it, the more I see it in decks, the more I believe it is likely a trap. The things you have to do to deliver this kind of overstated lifelink creature versus most of the attacking decks in the format being built around an overstated flying creature in Murktide Regent. That takes basically no setup other than just playing the game of Magic. And if they deliver a Murktide and you deliver a Triumph, Murktide is bigger. The format's already built around a 2-mana 8/8 that requires no particular setup. Why are we so excited about a 2-mana 5/5 that takes a lot of setup? And in many of my recent videos where I played Triumph, it frequently just rotted in my hand. And I concluded a lot of those games by saying, what if we played this exact same 75, but all of the Triumphs were Solitudes instead? How much better or worse is that deck? Because I suspect it might be better. And this list has 4 Solitudes and no Triumphs. I don't know if that was because I've come to those conclusions and been saying them out loud, or maybe Nebster found them on their own and came to the same conclusion through testing. But I like that a lot, and we're going to keep an eye on that. Outside of that, though, lack of Triumph of St. Catherine, probably the most surprising thing to folks who are only passingly engaged in Legacy. Should not be surprising to folks who play a ton of Legacy. Other than that, this is a pretty standard. These are all the good cards across the colors we're playing. This is the control package. We got Plows, we got Terminuses, we got Forces, Lorien Revealeds. Pretty normal stuff outside of that. Let's get after it. This is 5-color Yorion. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round 1. I have the basically mono removal hand. If we're playing against something like Delver, this hand is reasonable. If we're playing against anyone trying to do anything remotely unfair, this sucks. I am going to keep it though. I also can't cast Witherbloom Command with Tundra. None of the colors that Tundra makes are colors that Witherbloom Command is, which means I'm just going to play Verdant Catacombs and pass. There is a Surveil Land in the deck, and it is black-green. I could get some selection here. We'll see what my opponent does. They played a Misty Rainforest, which is a little troublesome because Stifle is a big part of this format right now. Fourth Aerolingus is a card I could cast for 3 mana. Opponent's fetching Xander's Lounge. Okay, this deck probably doesn't have Stifle in it if it has Xander's Lounge. Drop. And they did not stick a Bean right away. That's good news. I am going to fetch the Surveil land here and try to get some selection. Underground Mortuary. I would just like to hit my 3rd land drop, please. We did it. Put that one on top. And opponent is brainstorming now before I could deliver an potential Orcish Bowmaster. I have to imagine they have Yorion revealed in their hand if they're willing to use a brainstorm like this. There's also a control mirror, so I have to be cognizant of how much time I'm spending narrating versus actually playing the game. I'm going to pop Yorion in my hand. Invest in future success on that one. There's the Yorion revealed. I would love for them to give me a target for Witherbloom Command. If they play Beanstalk this turn and I can kill that and hit my land drop, that rules. If they play Beanstalk and back it up with Force of Will and draw a card and I don't get a Witherbloom Command, that doesn't rule. That sucks. Okay, we're hitting land drops. And the Xander's Lounge represents 4th Aerolingus next turn. I found red mana. Just kind of naturally stumbled our way into domain here. Opponent has a spell, it seems. Mana has been tapped. Nope, untapped. Change their mind. Brainstorm. Okay, I can cast this Brainstorm. And I can plow a Bowmaster if they have one of those. It seems they don't. Also seems I'm missing a land drop here. I'm going to put back these 2 Prismatic Endings. Or I could put back 2 Plows, Witherbloom myself, and then cast Beanstalk. Yeah, this is a lot of Plows, and I don't have another way to shuffle. Okay, I'm going to try this. Witherbloom Command. Target player mills 3. Target opponent loses 2 life. Green, black. Not really how I want to use this card, but I think it's a good exchange all around. I also don't think they'd fight over this. Yeah, okay. I milled 2 Plows and a Beanstalk. Verdant Catacombs, fetch. There is a Savannah here. I have enough blue. I just need green. Yeah, I'll get Savannah. And first Beanstalk of the match has been delivered in what is almost certainly a Beanstalk mirror. If they force this, I'm up a card. If they Leyline Bind this, I'm up a card. And I hit my next land drop. What is your counterplay? Answer appears to be nothing. Or a main phase Prismatic Ending kind of interaction. Your own beans. And me, who has just burned off my Witherbloom Command. I'm going to let that resolve because I have this handful of Prismatic Endings. Leyline Binding. Now they're cooking. They can have that too. That cantripping is worse for me. Oh, that sucks every ass. I can Prismatic Ending both of these. But that was a really insane turn from them. Just from the top rope, they just didn't do anything for most of the game and then had 2 Beanstalks and successfully triggered one of them all at the same time. Prismatic Ending resolved without a fight. Prismatic Ending also resolved without a fight. And I'll play a land. Those were both 2-for-1s for my opponent. Both of those beings drew a card when they came in. One of them drew an extra card off the binding. So I'm actually down 3 cards on that exchange. But I did knock out their engine at least. Fairy Time Raveler. Well, now or never. Force of Negation. That loses Yorion. Is there a Mystic Sanctuary in this deck? There is. 1, 2, 3 islands. Okay, I can do stuff here. I could 4th Aerolingus for 2 with Counterspell backup. Ponder's fine. They didn't shuffle. Yeah, I'm going to fetch in my upkeep. Get Mystic Sanctuary. Get back Force of Negation. Draw for turn, and then Lingus, red, white, 1, 2, leaving up Force of Negation. They only have 1 possible white up, so I don't need to worry about double removal spell. Just a little value, Lingus. We're in there. Fetching before combat. Dress down. Oh, that sucks. Well, I actually would like the Monarch, so I am going to fight over this. Attack with my creatures. Okay, we're in there. Got a draw engine. We're still down 3 cards on the opponent, but we're ahead on board. If they just jam a Lingus back at me here, I lose, for sure. Loam targeting 3 fetch lands, that's fine. If I resolve this Teferi, it can bounce their Leyline Binding and draw me a card off the Beanstalk. It gives them Leyline Binding back, but it's a way for Teferi to draw 2 cards right away. Ooh, I like Yorion Revealed quite a bit. I might be able to... If either of these draws is a land, I can also Yorion this turn. I'm going to start with Teferi. They might hardcast Force here. They do have the mana up. And it is a now or never situation because of the words on Teferi. Okay. Force of Will happens. I push another 2 damage and enjoy the Monarchy for another turn. They are at 7 life all of a sudden. Ooh, Beaststorm. I don't think I'm going to cast that right now. But I do have the shuffle ready with Yorion Revealed if I need it. What I don't want to do here is shuffle away Swords of Plowshares aggressively, then they suddenly find Uro. Let's just play that same turn again. You got another Force. Good chance that they do, actually. But let me see it. Fetching in response. Down to 6. Mystic Sanctuary. Targeting Brainstorm. Okay. These look like emergency measures to me. Solitude in response. Is this my fight? No. I'm going to let Solitude resolve. I could Brainstorm looking for interaction here, but I can plow the Solitude and then do everything I want to do with Teferi. Ooh, and Endurance. That's a little annoying. Am I going to interact with this, though? I could just bounce the Endurance, plow the Solitude, and see what my turn looks like after that. Yeah, alright. I'm not going to Brainstorm. 2 creatures are in. Teferi resolves. Okay. I'm going to bounce the Endurance, not the Beanstalk. Ponder. Yorion Revealed another land. There's a lot of Yorion Revealeds. I'm going to shuffle this. Hey, I play this card too. That's fun. If I plow the Solitude... Yeah, they gain life, but I think that's okay. And I have a Monarch trigger in the end step. I'm just going to pause for a second and nope. All right, no need to Brainstorm now. At least pause and take a look. And we have caught up on cards here. There's that Brainstorm they just put on top. Taking a spin, seeing what they can come up with. If they find a 4th Airlingus and get too greedy, Spell Pierce is going to obliterate them. Swords of Plowshares, you got me. Endurance resolves. Oh, I didn't leave up any white. Damn it. All right. Well, that was bad. Do I want to Brainstorm in this end step, Cycle Yorion Revealed, or... Yeah, I think Spell Pierce is actively bad here, but Yorion Revealed is actively good. Tricky. I wish I had left up white. Was that an option, or did I have to... No, I cast Teferi and plow this turn cycle. Right, I couldn't leave up white. Never mind. I'm just going to go to my turn. What I'd like to do is get this... up the Beanstalk pack and then deal with Endurance with Leyline Binding so I draw a card, but I'm going to start with Brainstorm and see how greedy I can get here, because if nothing else materializes, and nothing else did, now I just have to bind the Endurance, and I can cast this Yorion. That's there. 8 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blue, plenty of blue, 2 black. That's enough of that too. 2 red. Yeah, I have basically everything here. I think I'm going to get Tropical Island because I am an Uro deck at my core. Leyline Binding costs 1 right now, and I have Teferi in play, so I'm not too worried about stuff going wrong. I'm going to tap the Xander's Lounge because I actually want double white available. Those are the cards I'm trying to draw into, and we did get there. I think I can wait until their turn, though. Teferi gives me a lot of juice to cook with. And I have the Monarch. See some more options here. They're fetching, Hedge Maze, the selection. Excellent for decks like these. And I spiked a Yorion. Okay. I'm going to have so many cards. What I'm worried about here is Boseiju. There's a Wasteland. I don't think I care about that. They are coming for me. I'm going to take your Binding, getting up the Beanstalk, draw a card, which they should be worried about. And then I bind the other thing. And if they Boseiju this in response to the trigger, I lose the Monarch. Okay, cool. We got away with it. That was the only thing that could really go wrong there. And I think the overwhelming card advantage is where I'd rather be. I don't think I want Force of Negation. Force of Will's actually probably fine. I love Solitude, love Teferi. Terminus is a maybe. The 4th Airlingus was the game-winning card. They saw a lot of cards that game, and none of them were Orcish Bowmaster. That's pretty good. I'm bringing in my Boseiju, because they have all the same things that I'd be worried about getting Soltiude in my deck. They have all the same ones in theirs. They have a bunch of islands. I have a bunch of things that cost mana. Do I want Pernicious Deed? And if so, am I cutting Spell Pierce for it? This is definitely happening. Terminus enforces out, and then Bosh'nu carpets in. Pernicious Deed can wipe up Beanstalks and Leyline Bindings. It's likely to kill some of my own permanents too, but it is the type of thing that can flip a game where your opponent has resolved 2 or 3 Beanstalks before you, and you're not keeping up any other way. Especially in the super late game, fueled by Carpet of Flowers, you can reasonably deed for 6 and just wipe out multiple Leyline Bindings and get all the stuff back that's under them. But I'm also playing all those same cards. And if you take that line, it means deed kills your Carpet of Flowers. That's usually worth it at the time. I have made that play many times, and it's fine. We saw a Loam. That's not enough for a Surgical to me. You'd probably imagine Uro is in their deck. I don't think that's enough for a Surgical to me either, because I have so much white removal. Spell Pierce falls off pretty hard in the late game, but it is good in the early and mid game. Okay, I'm off Spell Pierce. I'm going to bring in the deeds. I've got a Beanstalk and a Force of Will. Good news. That's the combo. They've got a Ponder, and they are up about 30 seconds on the clock from me. We both have plenty of time, but just keeping an eye on that. I will be using my F6 button aggressively. Misty Rainforest, likely to get a white source here. And they did not have their own Beanstalk. Drop. White land. Tundra is as good as any. And start the fight. Beanstalk resolved. That means the Force of Will in my hand, if they do something to fight over this Beanstalk, is also a cantrip now. Leyline Binding. I think that's fine. I can just bounce that with Teferi next turn and draw 2 cards. No, I can't. Okay. They took out my green. That's lucky. The white's actually more important given the structure of my hand. Heyo. Carpet of Flowers. It's only good for 1. I am going to use the Brainstorm. I don't have a shuffle ready, or there's a Ponder that now shuffles. Xander's Lounge can go back in, and Volcanic Island can go back in, and then I will cast this Ponder. Leovold. I like that quite a lot. Okay, don't shuffle. Suddenly back on keeping that. Carpet of Flowers immediately embarrassing the Wasteland. Uro is fine. Leovold checks it. Force of Will checks it. Swords of Plowshares checks it. They can draw some cards. We're playing the long game here. I have 5 mana available right now. Yes, and make blue. Blue, white. Teferi. I'm going to accept my 2-for-1 with that and then make my land drop. They can resolve Uro this turn. I can plow it and play Leovold on my next turn. They fetched another island, just leaning all the way in on that. Uro has to eat Wasteland from the graveyard here, which means that Loam doesn't have that tasty target. The Uro has brought them up 2 cards, and then when I remove Uro, it's going to be another one. So this has been a 3-for-1. But I am still ahead due to some other good exchanges. Leyline Binding, my Carpet. Okay. I can bind their Binding and then make mana in my second main, if I care. I'm drawing Xander's Lounge here, which does give me domain, but so does the Volcanic Island. I could bind their Binding on Carpet, then make white second main, plow Uro, and play Leovold. Or I could plow Uro, play Leovold, ignore their Bindings. I'm going to plow Uro. I'm going to start with that. Getting that thing out of play is important. And then green, black, blue. Yeah, I'll just leave those things under the Binding, because I do have those Pernicious Deeds in my deck that currently are much worse for my opponent than they are for me. Opponent has passed the turn, chillin'. Slamming land number 5 here. I can hardcast a Force. Attack for 3. Oh shit, they have Endurance in their deck. That was bad. I'm going to force it. Whoops. If only that could have been played around. Mystic Sanctuary is going to get back. I think I just want a Ponder. I could also bind this thing. I think I'd rather force, though. Oh, fuck, I just clicked through it. I was busy in the tank and just... Jesus. Busy thinking. Playing bad. I would have rather forced this than bind it, but here we are. Son of a biscuit. I could have also bound the binding that was on my Beanstalk, drawn the Ponder I just put on top, forced the Endurance, and drawn an extra card. All of that was a disaster. And now I'm tapped out of Force too. That was just a misclick. My bad. Well, the coast is clear to put Yorion in my hand. Not doing anything else with this mana. I'll leave up red to pretend I have Pyroblast. Not a card in my deck. Oh, they have Pyroblast though. And they are blasting Leovold. I would like to draw a card. And I'm actually going to force this pitching the Ponder we just saw. So I think I'd rather have Yorion in my hand than Ponder. 2 cards in their hand. Any cantrips are just off. This isn't Orcish Bowmaster where you can cantrip and it just hurts a little bit. This is straight up like, nah, you don't get to do that. Up the Beanstalk. Draw a card. Solitude. I cannot cast Solitude next turn. Do I think they have 2 Endurances? No. And I can pitch Solitude in an emergency. Oh no, they actually have 2 Endurances. Wild. Alright, well, that happens. I will let this trigger resolve. And I still think Leovold is the best thing going on, and the Solitude is a cantrip right now. The first attack into the Endurance was just bad. The second one was calculated, and, you know, if you if you both play and currently are holding 2 Endurances on the turn I draw Leovold, good job. Maybe I don't make that attack if I don't have the emergency pitch to Solitude, though. Even though I don't feel good about doing that. Opponent's at 26. Alright, Brainstorm, save me. I'd like to get something going here. Bowmaster and Mortuary. Those are good. Caracas is cool too, because that can protect my Leovold from removal. But I would rather Mortuary away this land that I just put on top, because I don't want to draw that. No way they have 3 Endurances. Alright, we're through. We broke the barrier, folks. The sad news is that Orcish Bowmaster is much worse because they can't draw cards anyway because Leovold's in play. Leyline Binding. The good news is it's a giant blowout if they take Leovold here and then cast a Brainstorm. Unfortunately, this Caracas could have been used here to save the Leo. Instead, we're farting around. Carpet of Flowers, 1 card left in hand. Carpet of Flowers targets every main phase. They might have just been sandbagging that because of how horrendous it is versus Leovold. And you have to target at least once. You can decline it. Oh, Lorien revealed. Get in my belly. I mean, they're still going to be up 3 cards here and at a huge life total, but this was a nice one to snipe with Bowmaster. They are refilled and refreshed with tons of mana. I am drawing new cards. They are fearlessly putting Lorien revealed back on top of the deck. They either have a removal spell or just think it's worth it or necessary to do this. And I am running out of gas here. I'm going to attack with the 4/4, not the 1/1. I'm not going to get got by the 4th Endurance, 3rd Endurance, whatever number we're on. Well, we know they have Lorien revealed. It looks like they don't have a removal spell. They're just taking their medicine, high life total, working through it. This is the difference between Orcish Bowmaster and Leovold. They are digging and have tons of live outs here versus a Leovold where that Lorien revealed was blank cardboard in their hand. The Bowmaster's still good, don't get me wrong. I went from no board to 8 power and burnt them for 6. But they literally can't cast their spells. It's a very different thing. Speaking of very different things, there's a Leyline Binding, which can unlock any of my permanents over there, and it triggers Beanstalk. I am not going to cast this card yet. They're dead on board with 4 cards in their hand. They got to figure this out. 6 in the pool. Another Lorien revealed. Okay. I could let them go to 2, or I could just eat this with Leovold. I think I'm going to try to eat it. They wouldn't be casting this card if they could do other things. And if they want to get into a counter war right here. Alright, Force of Negation happens. I still draw a card. Force of Will. Alright, I'm not going to fight over this. I'm going to let them go to 2, and then I can Force of Will whatever's left over, whatever they were digging towards here. My opponent has drawn 9 cards in the last 2 turns. Pretty good. Ponder. All right, they're going to 1 for a Ponder. Clearly just missing on whatever they were looking for here. Supreme Verdict is the card that they can still cast right now that I'm worried about. Because they can't force back on any other piece of removal. If they go land Solitude here, they can't force back because they're at 1. Chose to shuffle the library. They could be dead right now if I had attacked with Bowmaster on any of the last 2 turns, but I was just really worried about a flash creature on this high impact object. but it wasn't free because they would literally be dead right now if I had attacked on either of those turns. Teferi Time Raveler. Is that even good? It's not bad. I will cast Force on it. I'll at least cash in my Force to draw a card now, while that's still an option. Play from the Loam. Not very good here. And they're done. Okay. That was a slog. The tension between you can't cast any of your cantrips at all, but then when you do remove it, suddenly you take 9 from casting all those cantrips. That's a fun little sub game when I'm on this side of it. And like I said in the deck tech, this deck is actually playing black cards. It's not just for the domain. And the black cards were huge in this matchup. On to the next one. Introducing Club GG, the mobile platform that lets you create your own poker clubs and play with your friends anywhere. Creating a club is easy. Just download the app, set up your club, and invite your friends. If you're looking for more competition, Club GG offers an optional subscription model, giving you the freedom to choose. Becoming a Club GG member unlocks access to compete for real prizes at a fixed monthly fee and no additional cost to play. Download Club GG now and join thousands of fellow poker enthusiasts. Use code BOSH for a free 7-day trial standard membership. Club GG, where the fun of poker meets the thrill of competition. Suitable for adults 18 and over. Visit us at clubgg.net. I'm on the play in round 2 versus Stryfo. We're going to have some sort of grindy control mirror here, for sure. I've kept my hand. I do have access to green. I just have to decide if I want to ponder and try to spike green naturally and hold the Yorion for later. Or I could cycle the Yorion and guarantee the green. I'm going to ponder. I trust in ponder. Yeah, this is a trust and ponder house. There is the Misty Rainforest and a second Beanstalk right there. Misty Rainforest from opponent as well. Fetch. I do know Stryfo likes Wasteland in a lot of his decks. I'm tempted to just get basic Forest here and make sure these Beanstalks can at least get on the stack. Yep, there's a Force of Will, pitching a Brainstorm. You love to see it when you have another copy. That's the same as casting Hymn to Turok to soften your opponent's hand to resolve a draw engine. I'm going to Wasteland this Underground Sea, see if a Bowmaster comes out of it. It doesn't matter. I'm still casting up the Beanstalk, but let's at least get a look at this thing. Dress down. Okay. Emergency cantrip. We take those. Up the Beanstalk. Not a creature, notably. And we're in. Teferi Time Raveler. I have a white source in the Yorion reveal. That doesn't cast Teferi next turn, but it is there. Brainstorm. Okay. Moment of truth. How good was that Wasteland? Underground Sea, no shuffle. Not yet. Okay, I can just place Teferi onto the stack right now. I'm going to stay relentless here, just keep dropping annoying permanents. I wonder if I'm supposed to bounce my own Beanstalk here. I think I am, actually. Get that long-term advantage. That does let Bowmaster pick off Teferi. Yeah, that's fine. Mostly fine. Already drew a bunch of cards. And I will have Domain next turn, which means I could play up the Beanstalk, and then in response to the Beanstalk trigger, play Leyline Binding. That lets Orc Army get 1 point bigger, but not 2, while also drawing me the most cards. Here we go. Bowmaster happens. Binding. Take the Bowmaster. I drew a Plow for the 2/2, and I draw another card. Spell Pierce actually looks pretty good on this board. Life from the Loam. There's no Wastelands in there. I'll let that happen. Taking my 2. I got a Life from the Loam too, and mine does have Wasteland in the mix. I don't even know if that's good, though. Okay, there's that. I'm not going to waste into the known Life from the Loam. That's just not a fight I'm going to win long term. What do I want to get here? Savannah? I think so. I'm going to put Yorion in my hand and then just discard some lands. I lose Wasteland and Underground Sea. I can hardcast Terminus next turn if I need to. Ooh, Dredged Loam, revealing Fable the Mirror Breaker. Suddenly a twist. I was briefly disappointed that Stryfo was just over there doing Saltai Bean stuff, but I should have known. It is actually the 4-color Stryfo pile. Non-white control. If you're not familiar with this archetype, I've played it on the channel a couple times over the years. Just search BoshNRoll Stryfo pile. And one of them I actually had Stryfo on the call with me. That was a really great league. learned a lot about Strifopile and how Strifo plays these control decks. Now that I've seen Fable, I'm a little bummed I'm tapped out of the Spell Pierce at this exact moment, because this is a great time to cast a Fable. Okay, it's Uro. Also not great for me, but it's not Fable. I couldn't Spell Pierce that anyway. Opponent has tapped out of Orcish Bowmaster. Leovold, right in the main deck. Okay. What is the best way to do this? If I Leovold now, I'm holding up Spell Pierce or Force of Negation to protect it. Green, black, blue. All right, Leo is bigger than Orc Army, and I have some layers of protection here. It also makes Uro a lot worse. Fetched a basic in the upkeep. Lightning Bolt. I will draw a card, and now I have Force of Will in my hand. I'm going to Force of Negation this Lightning Bolt, get a Tropical Island here, and I still have Force backup, which means if they want to fight over this, like if they have to target Leovold again, I draw another card, and Force draws a card off Beanstalk if we go again here. Hopefully we just see a full kicking of Leovold action. Do you think me a coward? I'm going to block, and I'll force the Orcish Bowmaster. Otawara, okay, even better. Yeah, that was just like, that was a bet that I'm not going to block, but I did, because I'm not a coward. Oh, it's targeting the... All right, nope. Opponent's smarter than me. Fuck. I get to draw 2 cards, but I do lose Leovold. I'm just talking trash. And pinging their own Orc army rather than let me draw a card. That was a cool exchange. But I do still have Leyline Binding now. Wow, was that even a good exchange? It was clever. I don't know if it was actually gets my opponent ahead where they wanted to be. I'm going to Plow Bowmaster. And it removed Leovold from play. Undeniably, that is true. I can Mystic Sanctuary, a useful spell to the top of my deck. If I want that Force of Negation, I can do that. Right, Mystic Sanctuary, target Force of Negation. And then Yorion will draw me 2 cards here. 1 on the cast, and then it will exile the Beanstalk and return it to play. I'm likely to discard Terminus to hand size here. I think that ship has sailed. Yeah, I'm going to clean up and dump the Terminus. Opponent knows I have Leyline Binding in hand, because just put it there. Cling to Dust, Eternal Witness, milled off the Loam. Cling to Dust is worth a lot of card draws here, but not really affecting me meaningfully. Okay, I could Force of Will Uro, or I could fight over the Uro once it's in play with this Leyline Binding. I think that's a better line. So Leyline Binding draws a card. Dak Faden. Spell Pierce, baby. Ka-chow. You don't have to get a relevant turn 8 Spell Pierce, but here we are. The land after the Spell Pierce. Tough beats. Unless it was all bait. An important lesson, though, that Strifo just showed us by leading by example is if you mess up, do not compound the error by then trying to hide the fact you messed up. He could have just not played a land there, and then we go to my turn and say, oh yeah, sucks, you were just a land short on that critical turn. But he showed me he did have a land, because it benefits him to have more lands in play. And that's just good play. A lot of players would just hide that. It's just like, nope, not going to play my land now. That's too embarrassing. Wrong. Right, I found a Bowmaster. I have double force here. I feel like I'm way ahead, but Strifo is sneaky and tricky, like that Otawara play. Loam just picked up another Otawara, or the same Otawara, but all right, yep. Otawara stuff could be happening here. And I'm just going to go to my turn, play lands, attack. Luckily, I'm unlikely to deck myself because I'm a Yorion strategy, which is part of my concern at this point in the game, or would be if it was a 60-card mirror. I would at least have it on my radar. 4 mana has been tapped. Otawara, oh, it's Cling to Dust, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just clinging to draw cards. Yep. Saving that Otawara. That makes way more sense. There's a lot of tricks coming from all different angles here. Cling to Dust from the graveyard. Otawara is uncounterable. Assassin's Trophy. I'm going to Force of Negation that. I can still cast Force of Will, and there are cards like Orcish Bowmaster that I'd be more worried about here. That Force of Negation does not counter. Drown in the Lock, targeting that. I could let that drown me. I could hardcast Force, or I could pitch a Yorion Revealed, leaving up Orcish Bowmaster. I'm actually going to pitch Cast the Force of Will. This plays around Soft Permission and leaves up Bowmaster, both of which are things I care about. I'm targeting the Assassin's Trophy. Now I don't care if Force of Negation gets countered. The only difference in that stacking is if they get Assassin's Trophy from the graveyard, because now Force of Negation didn't exile it. I don't actually know if that mattered. Dak Faden. All right. We've gotten this far. Dak's resolved. Target player draws 2. Have you been sandbagging a Bowmaster to get me here? I sure hope not. Deal damage to you. I can't kill Dak anyway. If Dak dies, it'll be in combat, so I'm just going to go face here. Dredged Loam on one of them to save ping. That is a way to avoid Bowmaster shenanigans. Discarded Spell Snare and Fable. I love a Spell Snare. Great choice. Another Beanstalk. All right, sending that in. If opponent has Bowmaster, might want to show it to me here. I now suspect that they don't have that. And I'm just going to go face. Dak Faden sucks. Dak Faden is fine, don't get me wrong, but at 8 life, with a deck full of tricks, if I attack Dak with everything and they have 1 removal spell, Dak survives. Okay. Assassin's Trophy. I do have a basic left. Yeah, I do. Heck yeah. Just good deck building. And see, Dak wouldn't have died there. Just, play around stuff you could play around. And then I'll draw 5 cards. Probably want to fetch first. See what lands are left in here. Trop Tundra. A Tropical Island. And I could play basic planes. I don't think I'm going to need that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to leave up black. Okay. Draw 5 cards. 1 card left in opponent's hand. Urros, Solitude, Yorion Revealed, Xander's Lounge. All good cards. Pass the turn. Dredged Loam there. Fascinating. We know that Otawara is still... Oh, yeah. We knew Otawara was last card in hand last turn. Otawara can free Uro. Loam targeting Cephalid Coliseum. Okay. Dak Faden can dredge Loam on one of these and then has to take 1 from the other unless a second Loam is dredged. Oh, a second Loam was dredged. Okay. What is going on here? All right. Is there some sort of combo kill? I'm so excited to figure out what it is. Cephalid Coliseum targeting yourself with 1 Loam in the graveyard. Oh, right. My Bowmaster's dead. Never mind. I'm like, why didn't he take damage? What is the mystery here? No, I'm just a freaking idiot. That thing died. There's a lot going on here. Okay. Let's begin my turn. I will attack my opponent's life points directly. I have 2 lethal creatures here. Orcish Bowmaster. That card sucks and is annoying, but I do have Swords to Plowshares. Just going to see where they put this Bowmaster ping before I remove it. They plow the Bowmaster. They went after the Orc army. This must mean they have a different answer to Yorion because none of that affects that combat. Inclined to Dust could exile a creature and gain 2 life. That's at least face up, if nothing else. And we knew about that Otawara. Okay. Yep. Story checks out. All right. Stable board. Air quotes, stable board. I'm going to Prismatic Ending Dak because that's the one thing that's going on over there. And then Yorion for infinity cards. Roughly infinity. Not exactly. I do have to click Decline on Life from the Loam for every one of these card draws. Super shitty. Exile the 2 Beanstalks. Keep the cards flowing. I'm not going to deck a Yorion strategy. Have some respect. Flooded Strand. And in my end step, my Beans will come back. And then I'll have to discard 2 cards to hand size. Probably Spell Pierce will be one of them. Leyline Binding, and Rainforest. Discarding Spell Pierce and Misty Rainforest. Okay, here we go. Still dredging Loam over there. Otawara is still in the graveyard. Loam picked up Otawara, Cephalid Coliseum. 11 cards left in the deck. If there's a Thassa's Oracle's Juke in this deck, I'm going to lose my mind. That would be so freaking cool. A Brainstorm happened. Uro. Go to 6 life. Have a bunch of stuff going on. Cephalid Coliseum just came into play. I'm going to fetch in response. I think I have 1 fetchable left. Just want to get it out of the way so I don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah, out of fetchables. Uro resolves. Wow, dredging Loam still. Fearless. There's got to be some plan for that.
Stryfo would not just forget that he could deck himself. Like, he's too strong of a player for that. There's something going on over there. Yeah, I'm going to wasteland this Cephalid Coliseum. I'm going to either make you use this and at very best tap you out of Orcish Bowmaster. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Which means I want to Leyline Bind. I think I want to Solitude the Uro, actually. This draws me 2 cards. This Life from the Limit in my graveyard is killing me on these draws. This pain in my ass the whole time. The Uro's dead. Bowmaster comes in. Where's this going? At my face. All my cards cost a lot, so don't know what my plan for that is. Attack with Yorion. And I can just go to cleanup and discard an Uro. He's at the point now where he can Cephalid Coliseum target me and blast me with a bunch of damage from Orcish Bowmaster. Loam targeting Coliseum. Okay. Coliseum's in. Is this happening? Yes, targeting me. Okay. I'm going to start with Leyline Binding. And this does draw me 2 cards, unfortunately. But if I can fend off Bowmasters, this is fine. Dealing the damage to Solitude. I could Dredge here to skip a draw. I just don't think that's important. Drown in the Lock. I have Force of Negation for this. Binding comes in. The Otawara is in the hand. Shit. Have I just lost? No, I can replay Binding. Do I lose to that too? No, okay. Well, this is still the correct time to do this. Okay, right now I can Solitude the Orc Army, and I end up taking 1, 2, 3, 4 this turn. Yeah, I'm going to Solitude the Orc Army right now. Exile Orc Army. Now the giant attacker's gone at least. I can also Brainstorm here. Yeah, let me get that out of the way. And I found a Force of Will and my own Bowmaster. That's the best thing I could have found. Okay, Otawara happens. Your Bowmaster's in. Target me. My Bowmaster, cast it. This is a thrilling conclusion to this game, however it breaks. Yikes. Okay, I probably lost about 6 minutes on my clock that game, just declining to dredge the Loam and never really had a chance to exile it. But that was really exciting. I knew it was up to something. The Cephalid Coliseum plus Bowmaster endgame needs to be respected. Carpet of Flowers coming in. I don't think I want Terminus here. Pernicious Deed doesn't kill Dak. Hydroblast hits relevant cards from this deck. Surgical on Loam actually seems pretty relevant. I don't always bring in Surgical versus just Loam decks, but we saw Loam and Uro and this crazy endgame. Witherbloom Command kills Bowmaster, but not really anything else. And he's probably going to have Carpets after board 2. This is a green deck. I think I'm going to cut these Force of Negations. I just mentioned Loam being relevant, but I gotta find cuts somewhere. I still like Force of Will. Swords to Plowshares is important versus the various Bowmaster nonsense. I could cut my Loam. It is nice because I don't remember if I saw Wasteland next game. It was really long, but I know he usually does play some Wastelands. I don't want to cut Force of Wills because they're essential for those end games. Spell Pierce. I think I can afford to cut Spell Pierce because Hydroblast gets Dak and Fable, which are the 2 things I most want to Spell Pierce, and it happens even later in the game. Do I want to shave 1 Plow, 1 Solitude, or 1 Prismatic Ending? It's kind of where I'm at this point. Now some white removal spell versus the control deck. I think I'm going to go down 1 Solitude and try it like this. I'm not going to have time for a game 3, so I better win this one. The Loam is in my hand and Lorien revealed. I will keep this. Okay, cool. Fetch land's even better than Loam. Or better than Lorien. I'm probably going to fetch the Surveil land and then Loam back my fetch. Brainstorm in the end step. Okay. Casting something on turn 2. A Ponder. After using a fetch land to shuffle the Brainstorm. So there was no shuffle. Had to redraw one of the Brainstorm cards. Did not shuffle the Ponder. I'm going to fetch for the Surveil land. Unless I get stifled. Which we just played an insanely long game without me seeing a stifle, so I hope that doesn't happen. Mortuary. Carpet of Flowers. Tippity top, please. Draw for turn. Underground Sea. Carpet of Flowers. This might get a Force of Will. Alright, we're through. I'm just going to make green off of this and cast the Loam. Even though putting it in my graveyard this early does mean that, you guessed it, I will have to click through it every draw step. Your own carpet, annoying, but okay. Gets 1 mana off of this. I left in some prismatic endings for exactly this possibility. Brainstorm, having already played the basic forest. Yes, and make white. Prismatic ending, your thing. Drown in the lock. Okay. And then I can make my land drop and put Yorion in hand. Slow and steady. I can fetch Savannah, and Carpet of Flowers still only good for 1. I'm not sure how long I can hold that back, or how important it is to actually hold that back. Both to be determined. Have a blue in the pool, and fetching land number 5. Uro resolves. Uro is a huge mirror breaker in this situation. Assassin's Trophy. That is okay. That also ramps me. And I can get a Plains off of this and just be set up with that. Okay, do I want to... I'm not going to fetch. All right, draw. Don't Drudge Loam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll have to go to discard if I cast Lorien Revealed, but the coast is clear right now. I'm going to fetch Savannah just to try to keep my island count to its minimal possibility. Right, they're Force of Willing this. I'm actually okay with that 2 for 1 as well. Like, I could take 2 cards out of their hand and guarantee that I still have Force Blue card, or I could force over that, draw 3 cards, and hope it's Force Blue card. Here's Uro. I am actually going to Force of Will this. I think I'm too far behind, and we've seen too many good answers to Leyline Binding. And there's another Leyline Binding. I can knock out the Carpet of Flowers. Let's just take that, and then see where things go. Because Carpet of Flowers is the type of thing that is useful under a Leyline Binding now, and if they get some real permanence in play, the Leyline Binding is something I'm willing to flicker. All right, let's see if your last card in hand is an Orcish Bowmaster. Okay, I'll finish my thought. I could flicker the Leyline Binding later and put a different card under it, and I'm pretty okay with that. All right, it was, in fact, Orcish Bowmaster, which means this deck is just mill 2, which is still, pretty reasonable in your Uro deck. Leyline Binding. I'm going to bind the Orc army here because my plan is to jam Yorion and clear the rest of these permanents. I'm worried about Uro at this point. All right, I'm no longer worried about Uro. Attack Dak Faden. I did not need to attack Dak Faden. I'm about to exile it. That was foolish. That should have gone face. Whoops. Long game, trying to play fast. If they stabilize at 1, I deserve this. Okay, all the real permanents are gone. Uro is in the graveyard, drawing wild. Has plenty of mana to do whatever. I can answer the Uro. I am just F6ing here. There's nothing to bluff. Uro is in for Xaxes, no graveyard left. Land did not come in. We've seen Dress Down in the deck, a card that would be annoying here. Alright, send it on the Solitude. Moment of Truth. What were your 2 random draws? They did not counter Solitude. Ottawa saving the Uro, sure. Yeah, playing the long game, that's fine. That Uro is pretty far away from escaping again. Their life total is pretty flush. And now Ottawa is in the mix for these Leyline Bindings if they ever find a Loam. And in the pool. I'm just fully F6'd. Oh, Dak Faden, great. That was a really good draw. That puts Uro directly into the graveyard and fuels it quicker over the next several turns. I am going to have to dedicate some resources to attacking Dak this game. I'm going to attack Dak Faden with everything. This does beat a single removal spell. They tap mana, then change their mind, and it was after blocks. I don't think this is Orcish Bowmaster. Or at least I hope it's not, because I'm casting Lorien Revealed. I feel like they have Assassin's Trophy. Oh, which is the same as Orcish Bowmaster. God damn it. Oh, they do have Orcish Bowmaster. Sure, whatever. Alright, still casting my spells. This will kill Solitude and deal 1 to me. Beanstalk, Ponder. Still not dredging Loam. Loam sucks. Alright. If I could play 7 Orcish Bowmasters, I would. But that Caracas is big money for that Uro. At least keeps the 6/6 half of it off of me. Black in the pool. Assassin's Trophy getting Dak back. Okay. I will get a land, get a forest. Deck will set up Uro here. Yeah, I'm behind. I need to remove this Bowmaster now. 2 Deeds discarded. We both thought Deed was good for the matchup. Or no, I didn't bring mine in, did I? No, I did, yeah. Nope, there they are. I didn't recognize them because they're not Apocalypse border. Uro's in play. I'm taking 5 here. I can pressure Dak next turn. I think I should fetch the tap land here. Just get it out of the way. My deck has Mystic Sanctuary. What the hell am I doing? Oh, I didn't have 3 islands, which I totally knew on purpose. Now I do have 3 islands, but I have to deal with Uro. I'm going to attack Dak Faden. 1 card left in hand. Is it Pyroblast? Attack the Dak. We did it for the first time in the entire set. The last card in hand was not exactly the nuts. Now I could just lean into Bowmaster and draw a bunch of cards this turn. I am going to do that. I'm going to start with Beanstalk. I'm going to have to find a removal spell to clear this anyway. I'm not going to Dredge Loam. All right, Bowmaster, we're in. That was a great find. Now I can Bowmaster yours. We've seen Lightning Bolt in the deck. And now I can Ponder freely. The Caracas still chillin'. Surgical Force of Will. Are these useful cards to me? Surgical's a little risky. My life total is not particularly robust, but they are going to have to put Uro into the graveyard this turn. Caracas, bounce Uro. Caracas can also start looping Yorion in the future if that becomes an endgame I'm interested in. There's 4 cards in the graveyard right now. I just drifted into under 5 minutes on my clock. Bowmaster triggering. Uro's in the graveyard. If they pass priority, I can extract Uro's. I hate that, but well, there's 1 left over, but at least there's not going to be 1 in play. Cling to Dust, Badlands are the cards in hand, so I actually could have let this Uro resolve. I don't have time to consider what's in their deck right now. Don't even have time for a screenshot. I gotta deal all this damage real quick. Cling to Dust in the hand that we know about. That wasn't even a good surgical. I'm just playing fast because of the clock. That literally wasn't even good. I probably should have exiled Ottobar if I'm going to get anything. Maybe take the Bowmasters out, just make sure I don't get got by one of those again. Block with my Orc Army. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, annoying. Draw for turn, don't dredge. Attack with Yorion. Okay, bounce Yorion. Draw some cards here. 1, 2. Fetch. Get the basic out of the way. Or I could get Mystic Sanctuary here. Yeah, I'm going to get Mystic Sanctuary. And put Yorion Revealed in my hand. I can pitch that to Force if it's bad, and I can just cast it next turn if it's good. Alright, they have Cling to Dust. We knew about that. Tight plays for tight people. Okay, that's out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Yorion. I should have dealt 1 to their Shaman too. Alright, I gotta slow down. I'm just losing my goddamn mind. Because I could flicker the Bowmaster as well, which would have... Like, Goblin Shaman could be dead here. There's no reason for it not to be. Except that I'm just playing too fast. Yikes. Alright, 1 to you. Your Shaman's dead. Count it. Okay, passing the turn. I have Plow for Uro. They can put 1 card into the Fable discard without going nuts on Bowmaster. Oh, there's a Bowmaster. Face up. That was the draw for turn. Cool. Alright, my Bowmaster's dead now. Ugh. Yorion Revealed. Chill out! Oh my god! Just Orc Army attacking. I'm going to block with my Orc Army. And it looks like they're holding up Force of Will. Which means... And I'm still going to end step this Plow. I guess I could have Wastelanded. I don't know. I'm all over the place right now. They declined to cast Uro, though, which is the important information here. I also should have Wastelanded pre-combat, because if they're trying to force my Yorion, I could have taken them off it, and now I'm just not. Pick up Yorion. Still doing it. Play Wasteland. Better late than never. Draw a card. I do have Force backup. I need some gas here, though. And here's the telegraphed obvious main phase, or full cost Force of Will that I could have Wastelanded them off of. But I'm playing like a slob. Prismatic Ending. These are actually 2 good hits. Exile up the Beanstalk. Then Prismatic ending the Orc army. I can Swords of Plowshares in the future. Didn't leave up 2 white. That was messy. And I'm still likely to time out, even though I'm playing badly, trying to get it done faster. They found a loam, and if I had correctly identified that surgicaling that first Uro was completely freaking irrelevant, now I could have cleared the Otawara, but now they can Otawara my ley line and have Bowmasters squeezing everything I'm doing. Opponent is playing a lot better than me, largely through the benefit of having more minutes on their clock than me. Dak Faden is here, discarding another Dak and a Pluto Delta, so we know Otawara is in the hand. If I try too hard to draw any cards... Oh, well, if there's a way to win, it's this. I'm going to fetch. You're at 16. I can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 horses. Is that enough? If I make 9 horses here, you could block 3 of them, and you can bounce Yorion. This is still not enough. I'm going to have to... I have 30 seconds. Come on. All right, casting forth Aerlingus. I draw a card from Beanstalk. Don't Trench Loam, you asshole. Lingus. Attack with everything. My horses do have trample, so I can let them block with Uro before I have to worry about Caracas. Bounce Caracas. Otawara targeting Yorion. Plow the Fable. I just have to F6 twice and try to get into one more combat step here. Oh, the Loam's gonna kill me. I have 2 seconds. This is not enough. And I die here. I think I'm winning this game. That was a big flip, and this Goblin Shaman should have died 6 turns ago, and obviously, like, that might have been hard to watch because I was actually extremely frustrated and probably did not hide it very well, but I made at least 3 very obvious mistakes in this game because I was trying to play fast and then ended up timing out anyway with Lethal on board. That was a good match, though. On to the next round. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. On the play for round 3 with no lands gonna mulligan, I will keep this hand with a Beanstalk. I'm gonna bottom Mystic Sanctuary. I'm also gonna lead on Mortuary Mire, or Underground Mortuary. Is Mortuary Mire a card? I think it is. Underground Mortuary, which hopefully will look weird. I will top the Lorien Revealed because if they start on a Wasteland, Lorien Revealed locks up the eventual path to Beanstalk at least. Delver of Secrets. That means that my Beanstalk can be dazed if I cast it now. I could also Brainstorm now. Get a... Oh, Verdant Catacombs doesn't get Tundra, so I better get Tropical Island. I can Brainstorm, then cycle Lorien for a Tundra. Oh, I have a Tundra. Well, I'll cycle Lorien for Tundra anyway. Or I could lock up extra lands in case they start wasting me. These 2 Solitudes I can make into a later problem, I think. And Island cycle for a Tundra right now. Stifle is popular enough these days that I'm just going to get my cycle in. Force of Will. Cool. Wasteland. Okay. Glad I kept the extra land here. Ponder's fine. I can still Prismatic ending the Delver around days. We know about Force of Will, but if they waste me, I Prismatic ending. Maybe they force, maybe they don't. Then I Ponder. Or I can't Ponder, they just took me off blue. Okay. Ponder will happen later. I'm still going to try to play around days where I can, though. Just remove whatever squeeze I can remove. Prismatic ending. Force of Will here would be kind of illuminating because the Delver decks of modern construction usually are okay trading one of these early creatures for a removal spell, and then they just have follow-up later. Using Force of Will and whatever you can to protect your 3-power creature is a very 2010 way to play Delver. An opponent did do that, which doesn't mean I think they're stuck in the past. It means that they just told me their hand doesn't have a lot more creatures, or they're going to start wasting me out. and ride this one creature to victory. This is why I kept the second Tundra off that Brainstorm, double Wasteland, but I'm still playing the game. Wasting the Tundra, which is the correct thing to waste, but I got another one. Their Ponder shuffled their library this turn, by the way. Spell Pierce. I'm just going to jam up the Beanstalk. If they daze, they daze, but I need to get something rolling here. And they did not daze. That's cool. Savannah plugs up a lot of the problems, even if they do find another Wasteland here. I'll lose black. Yeah, the third Wasteland. Keep it coming. I can't cast blue cards now. I can play another Beanstalk. It's 3 natural Wastelands is the game we're playing here. Like I said, 2010 Delver. This is the type of game plan that those decks were really built on the back of, and forcing to protect your single creature while you have 3 Wastelands in hand is exactly the game they were trying to play. Brainstorm in response to Beanstalk trigger rather than in response to Beanstalk. That's interesting. Like, what if you found Daze? Okay. Well, kind of regretting putting those Solitudes to the bottom now, because I'd actually be pretty stoked to cast them, but I'd also be pretty stoked to Force of Will literally anything this turn to draw 2 cards and try to put Uro on the stack. Especially if they have something good like a Bowmaster or a Murktide. Let me force that, please. Not often I root for my Delver opponents to have good cards. This smells like a Murktide to me. A force pitching Spell Pierce. Draw 2 cards. Hope they're good. Don't force me back. Or daze, or daze, or daze. Don't do anything. How about all my effects resolve? A Murktide goes to the graveyard, and then I go to my turn and take over. Oh no, they had a force back. Alright, well, white removal. Deck's got a lot of it. Teferi. Come on, deck. Land to cast Teferi. Okay. If they had a daze, they had 2 opportunities to cast it by now, and they haven't. Draw for turn. Leyline Binding. Interesting. I can fetch the Xander's Lounge, deal with the Murktide, draw 2 cards. That's better. Yeah, okay. Xander's Lounge, Leyline Binding. This one does it the most efficiently while leaving my life total the highest. I guess I lose the Bolt no matter what, but this one draws 2 cards, and if one of them is Force, I don't lose the Bolt. All right, well, hope you don't have Bolt. This was a thrilling game, however it concludes. I go to 2. They pass the turn. Doesn't mean they don't have anything. Important to note. I can start with Uro, see if I gain 3 life. Yeah, I think I have to do that because I can't double white spell here. Okay, I'm going to start with Uro, green, blue, colorless. The Leyline Bindings in reserve. If they bolt over the top of Uro, I can Leyline Bind to try to draw a force. Yeah, I'm at 5 now. Okay. Hope you did not draw a daze this turn, because you didn't have one at any point before now. Trigger. Solitude, what's up? We're gaming. And the Delver's gone. Suddenly, I am ahead. Just stay the course, hit your land drops, get a Beanstalk down. Eventually everything will go your way. Delver of Secrets, okay. Another Leyline Binding, zoinks. Okay, I think I want to cycle Yorion Revealed. Do I have a Tundra left? 2 have died already. How many does the deck actually play? 2. All right, there's no Tundras left. And white is what I'd be looking for on a Yorion, so I'm not actually going to do that. I just have green, green, blue, blue. I'm going to cast Uro. Green, green, blue, blue. This is the way we flip it the fastest. My deck does play both Mystic Sanctuary and Life from the Loam, so I'm going to leave a smattering of objects in my graveyard that either of those effects would care about. Uro's in. White source? Bowmaster, okay. I could go to cleanup here, or I could pitch Teferi to Solitude. Oh yeah, let's go! Delver sucks. Control rules. Carpet of Flowers, Pernicious Deed, Hydroblast. Fluster Storm's a maybe, probably not. And then Force of Negation, definitely out. Spell Pierce is medium. Terminus is good. Solitude, good. Teferi, probably good enough in 80 cards. I don't really like Teferi versus Grixis Delver, but I have so many slots to fill, and that one is a nice little speed bump. I don't love Force of Will versus Delver, but being a Beanstalk deck and you just need to solve problems generically gives me a little consideration to leave some in. Every land is a yes. Every 1-drop is a yes. Loam's a yes. Witherbloom Command is a yes. Teferis are maybe. Uros and Leos are yes. A Teferi, Spell Pierce. I'm just going to make a maybe pile of cards that I could perhaps play the game without. All the white removal is necessary. 4th Air Lingus could be risky versus Delver, because they have way more creatures than me. This does pitch to Solitude, which I like. Maybe 1 in the deck. I really don't want to see one of these cards until like turn 7, turn 8, when I'm 100% stable. But having a win the game button in your deck is nice as well. I'm going to shave a Spell Pierce and 1 Lingus and do it like this. The old process of elimination. Okay, no blue sources. I am on the draw, and I have the extra Surveil. Uro's really good. Force of Will's kind of bad. I'll keep. This is just one of those situations where 7 cards is better than 6 or 5. And my hand isn't so horrendous. We could run bad if somehow the top 1, 2, 3 cards of our deck are not blue sources or lands at all. All right, cool. Immediately, fine. Mortuary, get a peek. I'm interested in lands or white removal spells. I'll keep that land. Cool. And you would have been on 6 cards. Tisk, tisk. I got all 7 and thriving. Delver didn't flip. That gives me a window to potentially Bowmaster this thing. If they waste me, it's no good. All right, there's a Wasteland. I should have known. This opponent's been very good at having the card Wasteland in their hand. And I am going to ponder. Looking for some white cards. 3 of them. Let's go. Yep. Leyline Binding, 2 plows. I'll take the plows for sure, and then I can decide if I'm still in the market for a Leyline Binding next turn. Probably won't be, honestly. Delver flipped Revealing Brainstorm. Another Wasteland, yep. Opponent is straight out of history, showing us how Legacy used to be. I'm going to play Misty Rainforest, pass into their turn, and plow on their upkeep. Just in case they have a Stifle or a Spell Pierce or anything that would cost them mana. I just want them to have to do that on their own turn. Yeah, here's that Brainstorm. I'm not worried about that. I wonder what they're looking for here. Like, I just fetched. You can't Stifle for 0 mana. Why Brainstorm here? You're about to draw a card. At least wait to see the Swords to Plowshares if you're just like, oh, I gotta find a Daze. Like, I don't know, do you? Tundra. Plow. I am prepared to Force of Will to get this plow through because I think it is important to take the pressure off. Glad I didn't need to, though. They are fetching for black. Okay. It's not a Dragon's Range Chandler. It's just a Ponder. Nice. Deal. I'm going to get a turn where I'm under no pressure to try to figure out where the rest of my lands are. Did not shuffle their Ponder. Up the Beanstalk. Would be nice. Brainstorm. I'm going to do this before anything else if they want to daze it, whatever. Okay, this was a really good Brainstorm. Now I'm not willing to force basically anything because the force is my Uro, who's one of my best cards. I think I'm going to put back Wasteland and Underground Sea. I'm unlikely to want to Wasteland this opponent, and I'll just draw the Underground Sea next turn and have 3 lands to Bowmaster or Beanstalk or whatever it is I want to do. Maybe in the mid, or, well, we're kind of in the mid game, but maybe in the late game, if they show me that they've run out of lands or they only have 1 black source or whatever, Wasteland becomes something I could consider. But Wastelanding them this early when I'm just desperately trying to hit land drops is insane. Just not good Magic. Or at least shows a misunderstanding of what this matchup's about. I'm going to Swords to Plowshares this, and I actually will force pitching the Uro if they fight back. Because this thing is going to kill me. Even though I love and miss Uro. Cool. I played around Daze. I could continue playing around Daze. They didn't daze me when I plowed their Delver all those turns ago. Life does get better with a Beanstalk at play. All right, I'm going to go for Beanstalk here. If they have a Daze, they found it in the last couple turns. I'm going to get Savannah to make sure they can't take me off white. Force of Will, okay. They thought that was worth forcing, but protecting their Murktide was not worth a fight. That's cool. I like that. Reasonable exchange. Him to Turok. And I get to keep my Uro. Pitched a Brainstorm to do that. Bobble. That was clearly drawn this turn. It would have been cast before. They see my top card. I don't know what it is either. You draw. I didn't ping them with Bowmaster because I think that getting Uro cranking is more important. Chugga chugga. Do I care about this? No. I'll just ping it with mine next turn. Or if I draw a land off this Uro, I can ping it now. See what happens. Yorion revealed. Okay. Unfortunately, there's no timing where you can cycle Yorion revealed. You just drew off Uro to put a land in. And I did play that Misty Reinforce this turn, so I'm going to pass. Bobble. And they are bobbling me. I think I do get the Xander's Lounge here, just round out my domain. Gives me double black in case they can attack my black sources and mess with my Bowmaster. End step, get the Lounge, and respond to this trigger with Orcish Bowmaster. If they force this, I will force pitching Yorion revealed. They're done. They don't want to play anymore. That's also a fair answer. On to the next round. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. Second through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bizarre Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. I'm on the draw for round number 4. I will keep this hand. Island Ponder, also force blue card. Let's go. Opponent's also on 7 cards and just has an island. Let's do it. I'm going to ponder, just looking for lands. I'm not going to get a basic because look at my hand. I'll get Tundra. Yorion Revealed's kind of a land, and I'd rather have Plow than Uro in this situation. And in case they are a discard deck, I'm going to put the Plow in my hand now and draw the Yorion Revealed next turn. B-Storm. Wasteland. That's disappointing. All right. They didn't shuffle their Brainstorm, though. That's good to note. And I have a Wasteland. I could cycle this Yorion Revealed. This one's probably... I mean, we'll see what they do, but this one's probably also getting Tundra. A Swamp. A Ponder. Yeah, this is starting to look kind of scammy. This Wasteland is a red herring, by the way. I was never going to waste them, but they just fetched a basic Swamp. Hopefully that punishes their play for a while. Cycle Yorion Revealed. Get another Tundra, and hope I draw a land here. Or a cantrip that could find a land. We're entombing in response. I could force the entomb. They currently have days available. I have double force. Normally it's right to fight over the entomb. But scam confirmed. My hand's full of removal and counters. Alright, let's run it. Just didn't want to open up days if I didn't have to. This might come back to bite me. That might have been a miscalculation. I was just worried about days now. If I counter Entomb, that's 8 cards in their deck that don't work until they find another one. Between the Reanimates and the Animate Deads. I think stock scam only plays 3 Wastelands, though. Fingers crossed. Undercity Sewers. We'll probably see this clear a Brainstorm card. Thoughtseize. Well, alright, go ahead. They're going to see these Force Wills anyway. I either force the Thoughtseize and lose 2 cards, or I keep one of the cards and they get perfect information. That's the calculation here. Most of the lands in my deck cast Teferi this turn. And they're getting to work on the Plows instead of anything else they could have done there. Come on, land. Hell yeah. It's the land that both doesn't cast Teferi and doesn't come into play tapped. I am going to put this Uro directly into the graveyard, which is where it belongs. And I can't cast Uro, or I can't cast Uro, Leovold, or Teferi with this Wasteland. I think I might waste them. I generally don't advise this, but giving them fewer options seems reasonable here. It's not building to my domain. It doesn't cast any of the spells that I have. And they are just passing. Okay. Land? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've played around days this long. I'm gonna put Yorion in my hand. I guess if I didn't waste them last turn, I could have played around days now with the Teferi. So there is that. But they also pass without doing anything. But there aren't really 3 drops in this deck. I wonder what their hand is right now. Okay, Grief is happening. Yeah, I'm not going to fight over this. Grief, Exiles, Grief. If they Grief, Reanimate, then they have an Atraxa. If they Grief, Thoughtseize, Reanimate, they have an Atraxa. Grief, Reanimate, Force of Will, or Daze. They got a lot of hits here. Let's see what they take from my hand. They're going after Leovold. Yeah, they have indicated twice now that they don't actually have a Reanimate spell in their hand, and they're not really sure what's going on. All right, I'm going to go for the Teferi here. They did have a Daze. Would I rather have Teferi in play or Force in my hand? I don't think I can give up on a Force of Will in this situation. I only have one extra blue card here. I can't Force twice. And I imagine that was part of their decision to take Leovold last turn. Reanimate. Okay, here we go. Force, exiling Force. I just flushed a Daze out, but they knew my hand had Force of Will in it. So they must have some plan. Yeah, multiple Dazes. All right. I guess if I just don't cast Teferi there, not only did I open myself up to Daze on the Teferi, but Daze on my Force. Now I have to work through an Atraxa, which this deck can do. Yeah, I think I just lost sight of what my role is here, because something I tell people all the time is when you're playing these control decks, figure out if nothing's happening, who's favored. And if nothing's happening in that spot, I'm favored. And I just turned on 2 Dazes in their hand while I have 3 mana and a bunch of free spells. That was bad. They kept Reanimate, Bowmaster's Delta, Daze off of that Atraxa spread. They're probably going to Reanimate Grief here and take Swords to Plowshares. Oh, they're reanimating my Leovold. Yeah, that's way better. Never mind. And now Lauren Revealed can get Xander's Lounge, and I'm actually in the domain. Xander's Lounge, play that. I think I have to plow Atraxa first, and then we worry about Leovold later. Or they are at 6. Maybe I'm just supposed to Leyline Bind. They have some bounce spells in their deck, which is really devastating. Okay, yeah, I'm going to Leyline Bind and go after Atraxa. I know 3 of the 4 cards in their hand. If they Force of Will this binding, then they don't have Daze anymore, because that's their blue card. Cool. Forest pitching Daze. And the cool thing about binding is it doesn't target on cast either. Okay, this binding's going to resolve. I'm going to take Atraxa. They're going to draw a card. But I have at least denied their giant lifelinker, and they are at 5. Burrow's in my graveyard. Yorion's in my hand. There's the Delta. I go to 15. Bowmaster's over there, but I actually can't draw extra cards because of Leovold. Unless I draw cards on their turn somehow. Like if I cast a spell into a Beanstalk on their turn, that does work. Oh, grief, that's stupid. That was a really good draw. They kind of have to take Yorion here. Yeah, for sure. All right, come on, green source. Let's take over. It's a fairy. Oh, that puts my Leovold back into my hand. Okay, white, blue, colorless. Bounce Leovold, you draw a card, and then I draw a card, and then I can plow grief. Take all the pressure off. Nice, nice. And I drew Bowmaster, which answers their Bowmaster. Flipping it back. There's blue in the pool. Better cantrip while you still can. Fetch land. Orcish Bowmaster is at least killed a Teferi with that while the getting's good. And they pass to me. Up the Beanstalk. Not what I'm looking for here. I am looking for Orcish Bowmasters, though. I could also play Leovold. And then Bowmasters gets really wild. Okay. Blue, green, black. I'm going with Leo. This card's just really good against everything this deck wants to do. They have to come up with Entomb Reanimate for the Archon to really flip this on me. And Leovold plus Bowmaster is really funny. If they target me with something, I can draw a card, then they can target me with Bowmaster again, and we can go as deep as we want on that shit. Orcish Bowmaster, I'm going to start with that. See if I could get a Beanstalk in. Uro still lurking. Resolved. Go after Bowmaster. Fetch for a tropical island. Leave up white, because I have lots of good things for 1 white I could draw here. And do I attack? If I attack, I could lose Leovold to Bowmaster. Yeah, whatever. If they had Bowmaster, they would have just fired it, I think. Let's get this life total down to 4. All right, they can't reanimate big creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 mana. If they jam a troll here, that's kind of big. but I can Mystic Sanctuary a Plow to the top of the deck. Okay, they tap their mana, untap their mana, then conceded. All right, cool. Nice. I brought it back against Scam in game 1. That feels good. Being able to grind through Atraxa and stuff. One thing about the Scam deck that normally doesn't matter, I don't necessarily want to call it out as a weakness, but it is something that is true about the deck, is unlike traditional Reanimator, where if Atraxa triggers or Grizzlebrand comes into play and they see 10 or 14 cards, they're immediately going to add a second giant monster to the deck because that's how it's constructed. These Scam decks frequently just look at like land, animate dead, Bowmaster, Ponder, or whatever. And then if you can deal with the 7/7, they're back to being just a tempo deck with some of its core missing that just drew 4 cards. Which is still strong, but, you know, you see what I'm saying? We just kind of easily beat that Atraxa. Okay, the sideboarding now. Sometimes they board out the entire Reanimation package, and then they're just blue-black Scam after board. Sometimes they don't. You have to balance here your Force of Wills, spot removal kind of stuff. That is... Some of it is good against Scam, some of it is good against Reanimator. I think Grafdigger's Cage and Surgical are just good against Scam anyway, because it turns off the Reanimates at least, even if they don't have big monsters to get. I think I'm completely off 4th Aerolingus. Force of Negation is a little too specific and is a blank if they do the juke. Carpet's good against both halves. Cage and Surgical good against both halves. All the white removal good against both halves. Spell Pierce good against both. Witherbloom Command fine against both. Loam good against both. Flusterstorm's interesting. It might be better than Force of Will, but I am a Beanstalk deck. Flusterstorm doesn't get Animate Dead or Orcish Bowmaster just as a creature. It is much better against Reanimate and Entomb. But I'm bringing in 3 specific hate cards for that. Oh, I cut the wrong card. This is supposed to be 4th Aerolingus. Prismatic Ending's good. And I need one more cut somewhere. I normally don't mind cutting Wasteland when I'm a Beanstalk deck versus Scam and Delver strategies, because I'm not going to be Wastelanding them. I think it's wrong. Even that game where I thought I deduced the situation where it was right still turned out to be wrong. Boseiju can kill Animate Dead before the creature actually comes into play, but I think that's too niche. I'm just going to do this. Okay, I have interaction with graveyards. I have my first 2 lands and a Ponder locked up. I have a bunch of white removal, which is good against both parts of the deck. Keeping it. And I am going to Lorien Revealed. I'm not going to Ponder here. I can't risk missing on a land with Ponder and then losing to a single Wasteland. Can't do it. They cycled for Undercity Sewers, putting a troll in the graveyard. Already one good target for Surgical live in the matchup here. Sewers. Dipped a Daze. One for Thoughtseize. I'm going to Surgical the Troll of Khazad-dûm in response to Thoughtseize and then cycle in response again. Daze, Ponder, Delta. The Reanimation's still here. All 4 Entombs. The whole package. But they did find room for Voidwalkers and Murktides. That's interesting. What did they cut? Okay. They do have the full boat here. But they don't have any trolls. And then I'm going to cycle for a Tundra. Carry on. 2 Dazes in that hand. Now I know about them. Took one of the Ponders. That makes sense. Play the Tundra, play the Ponder. I'm just not letting them daze my Ponder, unless they want to pick up both their lands to do it. I think they probably would pick up 1 land here, but not 2. I do like these cards, but I can't currently cast them, and lands are my objective right now. I'm going to shuffle. Ended up with a Beanstalk anyway. Motobug. Ponder. Delta. I'm glad that wasn't a Wasteland. Entomb. Well, terrifying. All right. Did they Ponder? Did they draw step plus Ponder into Entomb Reanimate? Am I dead? This is an outrage. Neither of these cards were here when I looked at their hand last turn. All right. You got an Atraxa. And they did find Grief plus Bowmasters that could strip my Plow. I could draw Caracas here. That was a messed up sequence. And the Thoughtseize was likely to strip the Surgical anyway, so taking a high-value target like Troll out of the mix, I don't feel too bad about. They did have a check. It's not like I just spewed off the Surgical if I didn't have to. They kept Brainstorm, Grief, Ponder, Scalding Tarn off of that Atraxa. If I draw a land right now, I can plow Atraxa through the double days. Come on, deck. All right, well, it's not how I wanted to do this, but it does remove Atraxa from play. Days pay for one of them. Days force this one, lose my Uro. Sucks, but it's the line. Drax is gone, you're back to 17. Ponder, Grief, Brainstorm in hand, and I missed my land drop. And they played Underground Sea rather than Sewers and passed. That tells me they have a Bowmaster. What a surprise! My goodness. And here's Brainstorm. They have either Undercity Sewers or Scalding Tarn that can move these Brainstorm cards around. They could even put back the Sewers, fetch to clear the Brainstorm, and then get the Sewers off the fetch for the shuffle and the card selection. Just Sewers from hand. Okay. Fair enough. Pinning Archon. Unfair. 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 Emergency. Emergency. But I could Solitude the Archon. I would be way behind, but the two Bigos would be out of the deck, and there's no more trolls. I just got to beat some Voidwalkers and Bowmasters. They can Hardcast Grief next turn, which is an end game that this deck plays towards. There's the Scalding Tarn. We're about to see Grief. Yep, that resolves. They probably take Beanstalk from my hand, because these Solitudes are 1,000 miles from useful anyway. And Beanstalk is the thing that, like, if they take one of the Solitudes, then I draw a Greed Source, cast Beanstalk, Solitude, draw 2 cards, I could catch up. They did correctly identify that. Spell Pierce, cool. Do I get rid of this Orc army? I'm on a 5-turn clock if I get rid of the Orc army, and I'm on a 4-turn clock if I don't. Yeah, I'll take the extra turn here, the extra draw. That's what we're all digging towards. Wasteland, damn it. I have to keep playing the game because I have free spells in my hand and in my deck. Alright, now I lose. Okay. That was a pretty good sequence from my opponent in the start of that game. Also just, breaking on a land. They are on, or at least that game they were still on the full Reanimator, and their build has Thoughtseize in it, which might bring my estimation of Flusterstorm up. Terminus is really interesting because there are spots where it's going to be great. I guess if I'm winning, I can just decline to cast it and it's fine. But flipping it could change a game. Okay, Flusterstorm's coming in. I got to make room for them. I think Witherbloom Command can chill. I love Light from the Loam. The carpets are great. I don't love Force of Will, but I do know that they are on the reanimation plan. Or at least they were. Teferi's fine. Maybe Teferi should go. He's kind of bad against Bowmasters. Alright. This is what I'm doing. Yikes. 1 land, no selection, but I do have a wall of interaction. Oh, I hate this. I would rather see a no-lander than have to make this decision. I'm going to keep. No, thinking. So I'm unlikely to get completely clowned here. I can fetch Basic Island. Cluster a Thoughtseize. Alright, I'm going to keep. This is risky. I wouldn't fault anyone who mulled this, but I'm just going to play my Flooded Strand and pass the turn. Opponent also kept 7. That's bad news for me. Flooded Strand doesn't even get my Surveil land. Come on, land. Oh, shit. Light from the Loam is actually the second best thing I could draw after a land, because now when I do find a land, I'm rolled up. Okay. Kind of exciting now. Missing the land drop, my opponent knows my hand is just going to be 7 spells. Brainstorm's fine. Because I can Flusterstorm something, then Force something, then Surgical something, and then also Solitude something if somehow all that other stuff doesn't work. And they didn't have a shuffle in the upkeep with the Troll. They redrew one of those Brainstorm cards. But now they have a Troll all of a sudden. Must have liked 2 of the cards. Just think the whole hand's perfect. Jealous. A Sewers gets a Surveil. They like that card too. Hey, what I really want to do here is draw a fetch land. Oh no, Force of Will. Okay, I guess I can discard Light from the Loam to clean up. And I'll just dredge that back once it becomes relevant. Thoughtseize, this is the Flusterstorm I've been holding on to. I'm going to get Basic Island. I just cannot afford a Wasteland here. I kept a hand kind of like this one at the SCG 5K in Philly that I made top 8 of. The hand was like Wasteland, Wasteland, Force blue card, and no other mana sources. And I missed my 3rd land drop until like turn 5. and then won the game. And some people who were watching behind me were like, why'd you keep that hand? Like, well, I'm not going to lose in quick order. And if I don't lose, I will eventually win, is how I feel about that. I do need to draw a land pretty quick here, but I do have a lot going on. They've got a swamp, and they've got an Animate Dead. I will surgical this. Fully expect a Daze here, but willing to be pleasantly surprised if they don't have it. Okay, Daze does happen. Now I have to decide if I want to use Force of Will on this or save it for something more powerful later, because I do just have Solitude in my hand. But if I remove all the trolls, I do get to see their hand and know what's going on. I'm going to save the Force of Will for later, and I'll just Solitude this. And I'm going to go to my own turn to do it. Come on, deck. Fetch land. Ponder. That's kind of like a fetch land, except worse. A Solitude, exiling Leyline Binding. I'm doing this before Daze is online. Get rid of this troll. Ponder. Hey, there we go. All of the lands I was waiting for. Now I just need this Force of Will to hold up long enough to get Uro going. We're almost there, team. Sewers is back. I think they would have, or no, they couldn't daze my Solitude. They might not have dazed Ponder. I don't actually know if they have daze or not right now. They bin and entomb, interesting. That must mean they don't have another reanimate set up, or the Archon's already in their hand. Or maybe they did board out, or no, this is part of the package. If they boarded out the Big Ghost, the entomb should be out too. That's not it. Okay, let's find freedom here. Oh, I was supposed to dredge loam. God damn it. Sometimes I wonder if I've ever played Magic before. I forgot loam was in my graveyard. I was just willing to pick this up and rock with it. If I fetch 2 green sources here, they can't waste me twice. I can either Uro or put Yorion in my hand. If I get Savannah and Trop. Savannah and Trop. Yeah, I think I'm actually just going to put Yorion in hand this turn, and then I could dredge loam next turn, and I have double force up in the meantime. And my plan was to play around Daze and get an extra fetch land in the graveyard before I start loaming, and just forgot the important detail of I discarded that card to hand size 1,000 years ago. Grief, exiling Bowmaster. I have 2 forces here. They can't take me off interaction. They can select how many forces I'll have going long. They can kind of control what blue cards I have to pitch to force, but they can't take me off force. Entomb. That's why they did that one. Okay, well, I will force this exiling Yorion. I feel like they have interaction. Yep, okay. We may have missed the boat here by just a little bit. It's turn 5. I just hit my 3rd land drop. I don't know if they just got all this together or what's going on here. 10 cards revealed. Force of Will, Archon of Cruelty, Thoughtseize, Reanimate. Not looking great for our hero. They took Bowmaster, Force, Reanimate, Delta, and Animate Dead. Now I have to decide if I want to dredge loam and try to set up action for next turn or take a draw. I'm going to dredge loam, actually. Caracas is in the deck, so I do have a big spike if I could find it. Did not find it. I'll make some land drops here. I'm going to play a land that can get the Surveil land. Definitely behind at this point. Not dead. I do still have the Terminus in there. Traxa gets in. Fetch. Surveil land. Lightline Binding. Ugh. Alright, well. That's on top of my library. I know they have Force of Will. I don't know if they have a blue card. And then Flooded Strand, Uro. I can fetch Xander's Lounge and play Leyline Binding. Here's the Bowmaster. Do I respond now? Doesn't matter. If they have a blue card, okay, I can at least play around Daze here by letting Uro resolve. I don't need to act now on this. If I find a Flusterstorm that I boarded in, I should actually fetch the Xander's Lounge now, though, so I don't accidentally draw it. So I guess I could have just put that in off Uro. That doesn't matter. Never mind. Don't dredge loam. I actually need a draw. Put in Tropical Island. And let's see if you have a blue card for that Force of Will. Ooh, we're in. I'll exile Atraxa. And I'm at 7. They have 3 power in play, but I could cast Uro next turn. Let's go. If they have a Brazen Borrower or Whale of the Forgotten, I just get obliterated because they get 2 Atraxa again. They could Animate Dead a Solitude to add to the board. They could Uro just to cycle. They could Grief, check my hand. Yeah, reanimate Grief. You're going to see a land here. And the best thing I can do is flip my 1 of Terminus right now, because then either they have to force that or they have to fight over the Uro. I also wouldn't hate a counter spell or a white removal spell. Can't Dredge Loam here. Draw. Orcish Bowmaster. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Uro. Blue, green, green, blue. I am intentionally eating the creatures out of my graveyard so they can't reanimate them. Uro resolves. In response to his trigger, I'm going to Bowmaster and take out their Bowmaster. So I get to draw this card for freezies. Still not Dredging Loam. Prismatic Ending. Okay, that's a removal spell for the future. All right. They can animate dead their Bowmaster, take out mine. But I'm at 7 life and got a lot going on here. They have mercifully not drawn a blue card since putting that forest in their hand. And now Uro's in play. That's a big old guy. I got plenty of bodies to absorb a menace attack. Ponder. Okay, I get to Bowmaster something here. I'm going to put 1 on Grief, just in case they're tempted to draw another card this turn. They did not shuffle that Ponder. That sucks. Because they have Animate Dead. If they found an Entomb, all right, they're just deading their Bowmaster. That's fine. I can play in that world. I have Prismatic Ending, which is an answer to that. That's Animate Dead out of the mix now. They would need to come up with Entomb plus Reanimate to restabilize that situation. They still don't have good attacks. Reanimate my Bowmaster. Okay. That's pretty good. And they still don't have good attacks, though. They can lose a creature to put me to a lower life total. Yeah, just opted out of that whole exchange. I'm not going to fetch. My life total's kind of precarious at the moment. Don't dredge. Surgical, a little late to the party. I'm going to exile the Bowmaster that they own. And I get to attack here. I gain more life than Bowmaster deals. Let's see, am I just dead? I go to 9, back down to 8. I can block here 3, 4. Okay, I'm not just dead. It might not be good, but I'm not just dead. That was a great draw. Could have dredged Loam there to avoid the Bowmaster ping, but that's not what the game is currently about, so it's fine. And if they untap, they have Hardcast Force of Will available. I think I have to fetch now. Oh no, my Savannah's gone. It's in play. I don't have any white sources I can fetch. Shit. I forgot this was in Savannah. I'm only on 1 white. I might have just lost. Damn. Did that fetch kill me? Block 3, 4. Ugh. That was bad. I was like, oh yeah, I can get a Savannah, but there it is. Yikes. 5-color mana base. Not free. Actually, kind of rough. Not attacking with Bowmasters here is missed damage because I have a forced block on the 5/5. Unless they are proactively playing around removal when I don't have white up. This is a bad time to grief me when I don't have the white. A Surgical Extraction, targeting. Are there any cards in their deck I actually care about? Or in their graveyard? Not really. Oh, they're not going to take Surgical anyway. This resolves. Yuck. All right, that hurts. That hurts a lot, actually. Just randomly having Verdant Catacombs instead of any other fetch land in that spot is going to... might just cost me the game. Can't Dredge Loam here. Marsh Flats. Fucking Marsh Flats. Marsh Flats doesn't fetch Mystic Sanctuary. Yeah, just dying to the 5-color mana base here. Attack. All I can do is hardcast Terminus and hope it resolves, I guess. Can't afford to Dredge Loam. Spell Pierce is not it. All right. We have lost. All right. That was tight. It was a good feature of how this matchup goes. Really good showcase of the Riskaminator deck. They had reanimation stuff. They were just hardcasting Griefs at one point. They had a multi-Bowmaster game plan, and they're all just layered on top of each other. And it's really hard to control all of it. And also both a positive and negative feature of the deck we're playing. Game 1, we just ground through an Atraxa. Like, sure, you have a 7/7. It's gone. I can beat the other 4 cards you just picked up too. That's fine. But then also, this game, get Uro going on a mostly stable board, find the Swords to Plowshares, stabilizations in our graphs. Oops, Verdant Catacombs doesn't fetch Tundra. I got one more draw. Oops, Marsh Flats doesn't get Mystic Sanctuary for another chance at Swords to Plowshares. Just blop, blop, blop. also getting wasted out or just failing to hit our colors in game 2. This was a huge indictment of this deck's mana base, but also a feature of its power if you're casting spells, which is exactly the trade-off that you make when you register this deck. On to the final round.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through KATH Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. KATH is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at kathapparel.shop.
I'm on the draw for the final round. I got lands and spells. Volcanic Island and Dragon's Root Chandler. All right, this is what we're doing. Another Bowmaster. Okay. Misty Rainforest does get my Surveil land, which is good for black mana. That would leave me with no blue, which is probably bad. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go to my turn and probably fetch Underground Sea. Another Channeler. All right, deck. What do we got? Oh, I will cast Terminus. How about that? Fetch in response. That changes things. The Terminus finally showing up. I can force it through. We got, of course, GG in the chat. It's a miracle. If it makes you feel better, opponent, I only play 1 in this 80 card deck of mine. I do need blue mana to play the game. Tundra is the only one left. Okay, we're playing against Delver. Carpets, Deeds, Hydros, maybe Flusters. Force of Negation out for sure. I don't think I'm playing Flusterstorm. I'm off it. Too many good cards in this deck. 2 Force of Wills. I think we came up with 4th Aerolingus and a Teferi last time. What did I bring in last time? Did I go with Fluster? Okay, these cards are out. I caught a Teferi last time because I was sure they were Grixis. We only saw Izzet mana and a fetch land this game. I'll leave Teferi in for now until we have more information. That was refreshing after multiple matches going all the way to the bottom of our clocks. Maybe I can flip Terminus on turn 1 again and get out of here quick. Another double Bowmaster hand. This one has better mana though, and now I know the matchup. We can make informed decisions on our keeps. Bubbling themselves, didn't like it, fetching it away. And Ponder. Saw a lot of cards that turn. I'm just going to play Flooded Strand and pass here. You do have 3 card types already for Delirium. What do we got? Counterbalance? Sure. All right, Counterbalance is in. Pernicious Deed will someday challenge that thing. And I'm just going to go to my turn. A 3rd Bowmaster. All right. Got to avoid a 2 on top of the deck for a while. Okay, we are Teamer. I'm going to cycle a Lorien Revealed here. I think I do want to get basic Island. Maybe that was wrong. What am I doing? Sometimes this deck plays Blood Moon. Usually, I don't know if they'd even bring it in here. That might have been bad. Because my hand is just like all black cards. And I don't have a swamp. Okay, they are seeking a beast in the end step. It has exiled Wasteland and Pluto Delta. Well, at least I faded that Wasteland for a minute. If they play the Wasteland, it will eventually have a target. They went with Delta instead. We threw them off the scent. Love to see it. There's Questing Druid. And I can test in the end step on this Questing Druid, or I could just cast Pernicious Deed next turn. 1 is a common number to be in this deck. 2 is less common. I'm going to try to Bowmaster ping the Druid. I know that they can just cast a spell and make it bigger, but 2 is not super common. Blind Flip revealed Pyroblast, dodged it on the plow, fetched the Pyroblast away. This Wasteland's about to burn off as well. All they have to do is just cast any spell here, and Questing Druid survives, at least. Okay. I will pay the 1. And cool, at least it was Daze. That tells me they don't even have a Brainstorm or Lightning Bolt they could have cast, or they could have gotten me to commit to the ping and then fought around it. Interesting. Uro. That's a card I like. I think they would have Dazed again if they had another one. Uro, on the stack. Test this Counterbalance. Don't even care if this is countered. Pyroblast on top. If I draw an untapped land here, I could send another... Okay. I'm not going to be sending another Bowmaster in this turn. But I do have one in there, which makes a large percentage of their deck worse. And now if they want to do something like Brainstorm to set up their counterbalance, it's going to hurt. Flooded Strand doesn't fetch my Surveil land, so I'm not going to mess with it. Yorion Revealed. I know they have Pyroblast in hand. Probably not going to send that one. I could test with the Brainstorm. I could just put the Deed down. I'm going to go for the Deed. 3 is even less common than 2 on the blind flips. And this thing answers the counterbalance forever. Oh, Force of Negation. Got me good. Okay. I will take this opportunity to try another Bowmaster. Fetch a Tundra here. That should have been a green source. Whoops. All right. Another Bowmaster. I know there's a 3 on top currently. They could fetch and make it something different at random. Force of Negation's gone. Oh, we're just casting Force of Will. Okay, that's fine. Don't even want the blind flip. What if it was 2? There was a luck there. It was free. I hope there's a 2 on top. All right, I'm going to pass the turn. Yeah, the blind 3 on the Pernicious Deed was pretty strong. Unlikely, but you do play those numbers, so you flip them sometimes. They can start attacking now, if they want to. Still on turtle mode. Solitude. Can't cast that. I really need my Savannah to tie all my colors together, and Yorion Revealed doesn't get Savannah. It does get Trop, which lets me cast Uro, but they have this Pyroblast that I know about. I could just Bowmaster here, see if it resolves. If Bowmaster doesn't resolve, then Plow will. And they blind flip to counterbalance. Now I can send a Plow here, and if they're going to change the top card of their deck, they're going to have to cantrip to do it. And counterbalance, not a high impact draw when you already have counterbalance in play. That's not a card that scales particularly well. You do get 2 looks, like if you have a fetch land, then you have 2 shots at countering any spell. It's not nothing. It's not like your second Blood Moon, but it's not great either. Attack with these Bowmasters, and right now, while they're not challenging my 1-drops, I'm going to cast a Brainstorm of my own, which if we can get the Pyroblast out of their hand, clears the way for Uro next turn. I'm going to cycle for a Trop here and play that. Okay, here we go. The Pyroblast that I knew about is out. I'm going to try to cast a 3-drop this turn. Backup counterbalance, and they do have the double look now with the fetch. Rainstorm. I'm going to start with Uro. Here we go. Blind flips, 2 of them. Ponder. That's not it. Here's the fetch. Ponder's gone. This will be big if it happens. Daze. All right, we're through. Opponent says GG. They drew all their lands except for 3 in 20 cards again. Okay, sure. I saw 2 blind flips on counterbalance that were pretty good, but good game. Positive record, and one of these losses was a timeout in a control mirror that we were almost certainly winning. And then a tight one versus Scam. So this thing held its own extremely well. The issues that are known is that, 5-color mana bases aren't free in Wastelands format. They aren't free in any format, but especially Wastelands format, it's tough to make that happen. And we did lose games or have awkward sequences because we didn't have the correct lands, or our fetch land couldn't get the color we needed because of how the lands came out of the deck earlier in the game. Like, that's just some stuff you have to deal with. I never missed Triumph of St. Catherine, and Solitude was good a couple times. Obviously only 5 matches, and Triumph is an interesting card because it's hard to miss it. It's not like if we weren't playing Solitude, it'd be like, oh my goodness, I wish I had more removal. Or if we don't play Force of Will, it's like, oh, I wish I had more counters. Triumph is just a body. And when you're playing Magic and it's just like, would I like to have a 5/5 lifelink in play on this board state? The answer is always yes. But the value over what you're playing instead of that 5/5 body is less clear. I still think just generically Solitude is a better white 5-drop than Triumph is in Bean decks. The Leovold was phenomenal. Fourth Aerolingus was phenomenal in the matchups I left it in for, and then you just board it out when it's not good. Grinding power of the deck, undeniable. The Yorion came up a number of times as being good. It pitched to Force of Will and Solitude this league, I think, and I definitely cast it multiple times with Beans in play. Get that engine going. Insane grinding power if you're willing to risk your mana just simply not working some percentage of the time. That's going to be my final statement on this deck. Lil Nebstar, thank for sharing it. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.